I consider life itself instinct for growth, for durability, for accumulation of forces, for power. Where the will to power is lacking, there is decline.
Imagine that you're walking home from work tomorrow and you see a child drowning in a lake. You have two options. 1, keep walking, ignore the child and let her drown. Or 2, jump in to save her. Seems simple, right? Obviously, you should jump in and save her. But here's the catch. You're wearing your brand new $500 suit. For the sake of the thought experiment, we'll pretend you don't have time to take it off. So, if you jump in to save her, your suit will get ruined. Well, who cares, you reply? How could anyone consider a suit more valuable than a child's life? Clearly, you have a moral duty to jump in and save her, even if it ruins your suit. That sounds like a very simple, clear-cut moral principle. If you can save someone's life, you have to, even if it means sacrificing money or nice things. But how far are you willing to take that? What if the suit costs $1,000? $10,000? How much money should you sacrifice to save a stranger's life? Maybe you're saying, any amount, you can't put a price on human life. But if you really think that, you better start donating, pal. Every year, thousands of children in Africa die from completely preventable causes, like malaria or starvation. If you're watching this video, you're probably a middle-class Westerner with money to spare on luxuries. Every dollar that you spend on new clothes or meals at fancy restaurants or souvenirs is a dollar that you could have given to charity. There's nothing wrong with new clothes or restaurants, but they aren't essential. You could get by without them. So, by spending money on those luxuries instead of giving it to charity, how are you any different from the passerby who chooses his suit over the drowning child? That's the argument of Peter Singer, a philosophy professor at Princeton. As he puts it, by donating a relatively small amount of money, you could save a child's life. We all spend money on things we don't really need, whether on drinks, meals out, clothing, movies, concerts, vacations, new cars, or house renovations. Is it possible that by choosing to spend your money on such things rather than contributing to an effective charity, you are leaving a child to die, a child you could have saved? For Peter Singer, there's no real moral difference between letting a child die in Africa because you don't feel like donating $500 and letting a child die in front of you because you don't want to ruin your $500 suit. And for a long time, this really bothered me. I remember feeling guilty when my parents would bring me to restaurants, or when they bought me Christmas presents. I would get a twist in my stomach and think, all this money could have been used to buy mosquito nets for children in Africa. If Peter Singer's right, then we should give up every luxury and donate every penny we can possibly spare. As Jesus told the rich young ruler, sell everything you own and give the money to the poor. No more going to restaurants, no more buying fun collectibles, no more hot showers. All those luxuries are unbelievably selfish when there's children dying in Africa. Peter Singer's argument is nothing new.
No more mean white folks.
In July 1969, America is on the brink of a huge win in the space race, putting a man on the moon. But just a day before the launch, NASA faces a massive protest.
Way back in 1969, when America spent $25 billion to put man on the moon, a lot of activists said that money should have gone towards curing world hunger. MLK's successor, Ralph Abernathy, organized a protest at the launch site. He carried a sign that said, $12 a day to feed an astronaut. We could feed a starving child for $8. Another sign said sarcastically, billions for space, pennies for the poor. In 2019, the Notre Dame Cathedral burned down, and that beautiful, ancient monument of Christendom was left looking like this. Over the last few years, millions of dollars were spent repairing Notre Dame, and it finally reopened in 2024. But not everyone was happy about this. Dylan Matthews, a reporter for Vox and a fan of Peter Singer, said that this money should have gone to curing malaria. Quote, the Notre Dame restoration budget could save 47,500 people's lives from malaria. 47,500 people is about 5 times the population of the town I grew up in, Hanover, New Hampshire. It's useful to imagine walking down Main Street, shaking hands with as many people as you can, and telling them, I think you need to die to make a cathedral pretty. As you can probably tell, I don't buy this argument. Sorry, I don't believe we have a duty to sacrifice every luxury and every grand endeavor for the sake of third world children. But I also don't think we can just laugh this argument away. We need to grapple with it. A few months ago, J.D. Vance was asked to justify mass deportations, and he responded by saying this.
But there's this old school, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way, that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country, and then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world. A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. They seem to hate the citizens of their own country and care more about people outside their own borders. That is no way to run a society.
The concept he's referring to is Ordo Amoris. Basically, you have a greater duty to the people you love. Your highest duty is to your family, then to your community, and only then to the rest of the world. The problem with Peter Singer's argument is that he doesn't understand morality. Sorry, utilitarians, morality is not about minimizing the total amount of suffering in the universe. Morality is not about universal compassion for every single human being on the face of the planet. Morality is about protecting what you love. I would rather save my mom than save 500 kids from malaria. If a trolley was hurtling towards my mom and there were 500 strangers on the other track, sorry, I'm saving my mom. It's not fair, it's not equal, it's not objective. It's favoritism, and that's okay. Some people are more valuable to me, some people matter more than others in my book, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's what makes us human. This is also why I'm an environmentalist. I could give you a utilitarian argument that protecting natural resources will create a better world for future generations, and that is true. But the fact is, I want to protect the wilderness because I love it. Simple as that. Saving the forests and the oceans is an end in itself, just like saving my mom is an end in itself. You don't need a utilitarian argument that this will benefit humanity. To some of you, that sounds incredibly selfish. But it's not selfish to prioritize the people and the places that you love. It would be selfish if the only thing you loved was yourself. That's what Ayn Rand got wrong. She thought that being a great man meant being utterly self-interested. She thought altruism was weak. On the contrary, being greedy, being a cold-hearted, penny-pinching Scrooge, is not noble. It's ugly. The great man, the aristocrat of the soul, is generous and kind. He loves things beyond himself. However, at the same time, being too generous is also ugly. Giving away every excess penny, denying yourself the finer things in life to buy mosquito nets for African villagers? That's weird, man. That's ugly. I don't want to be that kind of person. If I was walking to work tomorrow and I saw a drowning child, I would save her. But if every day on my commute I saw 1 million drowning children in 1 million pools, I wouldn't think it was my duty to become a full-time volunteer lifeguard. I make no pretense of universality. I make no pretense that my values are objective. They are simply my values. I'm not a dispassionate observer. I'm not watching the world from behind Rawls' veil of ignorance. I'm a real person in a real community with real people that I love. Politics is not about the greatest good for the greatest number, or uplifting humanity as a whole. Politics is, and of right ought to be, about protecting what you love and destroying what you hate. George Plunkett called this honest graft, or, in modern terms, good corruption. If I send a politician to DC, I don't want him to be compassionate for the plight of humanity. I want him to be compassionate for me and my town and my community. I want him to be unfair for our benefit. Both the left and the right get this wrong. The left thinks we have a duty of universal compassion. We have to let in as many refugees as we can possibly fit. We have to give billions of dollars in foreign aid to cure diseases in Africa. No, we don't. We can if we want to as an act of charity, but we don't have to, and we shouldn't if it's gonna hurt us and our families. The right correctly rejects this universal empathy, but they replace it with nationalism. America First is really just a small-scale version of the same philosophy. You must sacrifice for the collective, for the common good of the nation. You must pay $200 for a carton of eggs so that auto workers in Ohio have more jobs. If you go even farther right, you meet the Nazbols and the fascists and the Tradcath integralists. Most of them believe in welfare and food stamps and free housing. Once again, they want to tax me and my family to subsidize poor people. Only now it's based in trad and right wing because the poor people happen to live in America. So what? Why does that invisible line make a difference? Sorry, I don't care about that. Just because you're an American doesn't mean you're part of my community. America is not a nation, it's an empire. And the American identity is a political fiction. My community is my hometown and my family and my church. J.D. Vance and the America First crowd want us to feel this sense of brotherhood with our fellow Americans. But America will never be a real community. It's too big. We must reject ideology. All three positions, liberalism, communism, nationalism, they all try to be objective. They all ask the question, which system is best? To which we must respond, best for whom? There is no universal correct answer to politics because we all have different interests. My ideal system might be completely different from yours, even if we agree on all the facts, because you and I care about different people in different places. We might agree on all the indicatives and still disagree on the imperatives. Medieval Europeans understood this. They did not have isms, they were not ists. They just wanted to preserve stability and make sure they had a clear successor to the throne. It was about order, not ideology. We need a politics of power, a politics that drops the pretense of universal empathy, that drops the pretense of nationalism. We need to assert our values, we need to ensure stability and safety for our families, and we need to preserve the things we love. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment. Just say anything, literally anything, and that will be a huge help for the algorithm. Sadly, my channel is permanently demonetized, so if you like my videos and want to help me out, consider joining my Patreon. You'll get a shout out in every video, you'll get to join my super secret Discord server, and you'll get to join our weekly video calls, where you can talk with me and the boys about philosophy and history and politics. It's a great time. Look, all it costs is $1 a month. That adds up to $12 a year, which is nothing. And in return, you get to be my friend forever. If you pledge $5 or more, you get access to the Arthur Greenwood archive. These are my old videos that I've deleted off of YouTube, including my really old videos from when I was a socialist. There's even the hour-long debate I had about anarcho-capitalism. So if you're interested in the deep Arthur Greenwood lore, you'll definitely want to check that out. Thank you to my current patrons, Benjamin, SEAL Team, Wesley, Squeaker, Dan, Liam, Woodson, Honorary A, Bennett, Wise Mythical Stone, Contranock, Karthik, my boy, Piedar, Lexus, Medi, Temp, Carter, Aiden, Lucaso, Sebastian, Jake, Mark, Seb, and TDW. You guys are the best. Thank you all so much. Love you all. Everybody click and watch this video right now, and I'll see you there. God bless America.